Okay, we're back. I'm back. Wesley never left. I did. I was
We're getting there.
busy. I was having fun.
I think we're good.
Cool. Um, Happy Monday. It's Monday again. The car crash saga in front of the old shop continues. There's a 3-car crash directly in front of the old shop currently. I passed it on the way here.
No pictures.
No, no pictures. It was surrounded by emergency vehicles, so I didn't stop and take pictures.
All right. All right.
Oh man.
We need
Welcome
the.
back to the land of virtual. Yes.
You need a. You need to. Oh wait. I was gonna say I gotta tear the building down because what you should do is just like keep your security cameras up, but just in the front of the building.
Yeah, they already changed they already put new cameras up and all kinds of stuff over there. I guess shortly after I moved out, there was somebody they assume was a homeless person sleeping in their van in the lean-to out back. So they had to put up cameras and stuff, which not
Yeah.
much of a surprise considering the trailer park had to be moved out about the same time as I had to move out. So like, those folks didn't have a whole lot of places to go,
Or the young.
right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, back from Utah. What's going on, everybody in the chat? Back from Utah. Every single one of you that suggested I drive my Jeep to Utah is officially banned from this YouTube channel. That sucked, my friends. That sucked. Um, Wind and elevation were just murder on the Jeep. If you had any reasonable headwind, um, 55, 57 miles an hour was flirting with the kick down on the trans, and that was about all she could do. The one day on my way home, there was like a 40 mile an hour steady side wind with like 60 to 80 mile an hour gusts. How that whole shebang wasn't on its side, on the side of I-80, I don't know. There was, extreme blowover risk on all of the signs above the highway,
Bot squared
and
vehicles.
yeah, it was making me nervous. So, and in those winds, I was only able to do like 52 miles an hour in an 80.
Kilometers an hour.
Yeah, 52 miles an hour in an 80. As a guy who normally drives 55 in a 45, to do low 50s in an 80, it was just an absolute test of patience like I haven't had in a very long time. That was pretty bad. But the Jeep did make it with no mechanical issues, no failures of any kind. Um, I did blow 2 tires on the trailer, on the camper. Um, that sucked real bad. Like, going around Denver, it's like 5 lanes wide. And just before you start up the mountain, there was a truck broke down on the side of the road in the right shoulder with a tow truck behind it, which I assume caused the crash on the left-hand shoulder. And it was just the beginning of what was going to be a traffic jam. So everybody was funneling into like the middle 3 lanes. And as soon as I moved over into the next lane over, the second lane, just blew the driver's side trailer tire. I'm like, shit, okay. So I pulled over behind the tow truck because I couldn't get around the tow truck. So I pulled over behind the tow truck, and then traffic was getting so heavy that nobody was able to move over to give me a lane. So I'm changing a driver's side tire on the side of the road. Thankfully, everybody was going reasonably slow because it was jamming up pretty bad. So got the tire changed, put the spare tire on, and as soon as I pulled away from that, I knew that spare tire wasn't going to last very long because like it just felt rough. I could feel that tire was different. So I peeled off at the next exit, and there was a camper and RV repair place like right around the corner, which was lucky. So I got the blown tire changed and just threw it back in the Jeep and started up the mountain. And I got like, I don't know, 2 miles from the peak. And I had pulled off to let the Jeep cool off because the trans was getting pretty warm. It was like 218, 220. I'm like, I don't want it to get a whole lot warmer than that. So I had pulled off and stopped. There was like 3 other trucks standing there, sitting there cooling off. So I stood there and talked to those guys for like 20 minutes or something. And this little SUV pulling a trailer goes by at like 15 miles an hour. I pull out behind them, go around the very first turn, and blew that same tire again. I'm like,
The spare
shit.
tire.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's no nice pull-off around that corner. So I'm changing a driver's side tire again on the blind side of a curve, which was equally as terrifying. But after that, no more tire issues. So
everyone that I know, is it like a? Do people just not do anything with their trailer tires, or are trailer tires in general just like the biggest hunks of turds?
they're
Is there like a
terrible.
premium trailer tire?
There is. It's like the original trailer tires are like just junk. They're barely rated for the weight of the trailer, and it was 100 degrees outside. You're at elevation, the pressure increased or whatever, and it just exploded the tire. I mean, it didn't go low. It just like bombed, like blew up. Probably can't see. It's sitting right, right there. Can't really see it, but it just
Like,
exploded.
like I got friends and their trailer tire is just a grenade too, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
its only purpose is to go round and round.
Yeah,
It's
when
not
I went to get
like a
the
car
tire
tire.
changed,
Applies power, and a car tire applies
yeah,
lateral. I just don't get why everyone I know has these hard tires with trailer or hard times with trailer tires.
yeah. When I went to get the tire replaced at the repair shop thing, the guy was like, "Well, I've got a $50 tire and I've got a $140 tire, or you can do an aluminum wheel and tire combo for like $490." I'm like, "Put the $140 tire on it. I don't want the cheap tire." Just
I thought for certain you were going with the cheap. I was like, okay, now it all makes
No.
sense.
No, I was like, no, I'm not putting another cheap tire on this thing, especially not on the driver's side. Like, whatever. So it's just they're the cheapest tire you can get, and they're 40, $50 a tire, and people when they blow them, they just put the next cheapest tire on it. So after I had to change the tire the second time, when I was coming down the backside, I stopped in Rifle, Colorado, and they had a Tractor Supply, and I just bought another wheel and tire combo because they didn't have just a tire. And that wheel and tire combo was cheaper than the tire that I just had put on. So it's like, but I wasn't going to be without a spare because I'd already blown 2 tires. And I wasn't about to be on the side of the road without a spare, right? So, but other than that, no other.
So
What?
can you just get like a load range E truck tire, or is that just super expensive?
I mean, it's a 14-inch wheel, so I mean, trying to find a heavy-duty vehicle tire
You can
in a 14.
hub, or you can like, I know people who do this 6-lug conversion so they can run Toyota wheels or the 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't have a trailer anymore. And the trailer I did have was like a bomb squad military. So
Yeah. How far are you from the old shop? Can you get a periscope that would view the old shop? If I put a tall enough pole up, I could see the old shop. It's like just shy of 3/4 of a mile. So towing it would have been worse then, so it might have been the safer option. I mean, I should have taken my truck, is what I should have done, but it is what it is. They're rated for like 35 miles an hour, exaggerating, of course, yeah. Shitty quality trailer tires, yep. They're just cheap tires, it's just the way it is. So the Jeep definitely needs a tire rotation and oil change now, though, because I put like 4,700 miles on it on that trip. So, on the clapped out, but clapped out, chewed up 37s. Man, it was freaking hot the whole time. There wasn't a single day less than 100 of the
Nice.
10 days I was gone. Yeah.
What all did you end up doing in Moab?
I started Hell's Revenge, but it was getting dark. It was getting late. I got to Moab at like 7:30 at night.
Oh.
And so I started Hell's Revenge, and I did a little bit of that, and then it was starting to get dark, and so I turned around and went back, and then the next morning I did Top of the World. I'm not sure the Lexus would do the ledges.
That's my only concern. No bypasses.
Not really. There is obviously an easier line, but definitely don't try to do it by yourself, because if you need to winch, there's nothing to winch off of.
Yeah,
And I got up to that point and I stopped and I looked at it and I'm like, I mean, I've got lockers and 37s and I can go up this, you know. So I did, but then I got to thinking, I'm like, man, if I didn't have lockers and I got stuck right there, or if something broke, or, you know, if I had a problem right there, I hadn't seen another single vehicle in 2 hours. So I'm like, I'd have been there for a minute if something would have happened.
Set up camp.
Yeah.
Cancel the hotel reservations.
Yeah. The other unfortunate thing about Top of the World is how far away it is from everything else. It was like a 40-minute drive from downtown Moab.
Oh, dang.
You like follow the Colorado River and it just weaves and wobs and snakes and bends and up and down around.
So that's a cool drive, though.
It was a really cool drive to get there, but like I said, it was 40-ish minutes from Hell's Revenge back through town and then all along the river.
Yeah, then you gotta calculate. It's 40 minutes plus another 40 minutes, so
yeah,
over an hour and a half.
Yeah. Plus, I still had to drive to Sand Hollow that afternoon, so it was like, you know. And then I got to Sand Hollow on Saturday night, and I got a campsite. I was just gonna boondock it, but dude, even at like 10 o'clock, it was still 95 degrees. And without being able to plug the camper in and not have AC, I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm going to sleep in this freaking camper. So I got a campsite at the Quail Ridge or something state park. There's a reservoir right up from Sand Hollow.
Yeah.
$40. Brand new campground, brand new level paved site, little gazebo, nice aluminum picnic table. It was nice. And then Sunday morning, I moved to the Jellystone where I was at for the rest of the week, and then I unhooked and went out to Sand Hollow. I didn't do a whole lot at Sand Hollow. It was 115 degrees outside. and I was by myself, and I hadn't aired down. So, like, I did a little bit of Chutes and Ladders, which is a red trail. I started Chutes and Ladders, did a little bit of that, and then I just kind of peeled off and started up this one trail, and it went to this big sand dune hill. And I made it like 2/3 of the way up that, and before I knew it, I was bouncing it off the rev limiter, and I'm like, you know what? This probably isn't the smartest thing. Because, again, I hadn't seen a single vehicle in over an hour. and you're just on a sand dune, so there's nothing to winch to. So, and I don't have a shovel, so I couldn't even like dig myself out if I had to. I mean, I guess I could have used my hands or whatever, but so I backed back down off of that, and I just cruised around a little bit. Just did some, like, I'm gonna call them 2-track roads. They're just sandy dirt roads.
Overlanding.
Yeah, whatever.
Just
So I
kidding.
did a
I'd
little
be
bit of
doing the
that.
same. I'd be doing the
Yeah,
same.
did a little bit of that, and then went back to the campground for the night, and then Jamie and Riley's flight was supposed to land in Vegas at like 10:45 at night. It got delayed by 5 hours. So by the time they landed and we drove back to Sand Hollow, it was 6:30 in the morning when we got back to the camper. So like that kind of sucked. That kind of screwed up Monday a little bit. But the campground had the full water park and all that stuff, so we just floated in the lazy river and played in the pool and went down the water slides and just kind of hung out all day on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday were in Zion, and then Thursday I took them back to the airport, and then Friday morning I left to head back. So it was
That's
fun.
cool. They have a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. Is the lathe all set up? Yes, the lathe is set up and fully functional now. I was making parts on it today. Is that your bike? No, these are all customer bikes. There's a V-Star 1100 behind me, a Kawasaki Vulcan 750, Victory Jackpot, another Kawasaki 750, and then the side-by-side, the drift car Raptor thing over there still is here.
And they all need to be running in 2 days.
Yeah, everybody wants them by the weekend. So,
Classic.
and none of the parts are here. So, and there's a YZ85 engine behind the Victory on a teardown table that's just in a bazillion pieces. Which, of course, they don't need that this weekend, but they need it next weekend. But it's a full transmission job and crank and all that stuff. Oh, yes. New sliders. Need to put those on the website.
Yeah, so I'll probably print off the Leaf Yoda one so people will understand. But yeah, with the Leaf, Sever Leaf anyway, I didn't think I changed much other than adding leaf spring bracketry. Turns out so this is the only big body right now that requires this little mount in the back. Turns out I moved, and this runs off of the carrier bearing bolt holes or provisions. Turns out that on the Sever Leaf, I moved that like 4 millimeters. I don't recall the reason. Maybe I was trying to find like the best arch angle maybe of the drive shaft, or it was a complete mistake. But anyway, somebody downloaded that and tried putting it on their Sever S1 linked version, and he's like, "Hey, this isn't lining up." So I was like, "That's odd." Went into it, and sure enough, I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm wrong." So I went ahead and, remade that, test fitted it, or test printed, test fitted, and got him squared away. But he was cool about it.
Yeah. It's
Anyway,
always something, man. Life just punches you sometimes. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, that was just like again, like the Bamboo Labs 3D printer. I think it took 40 minutes to print this in like fine quality because I wanted to like print it and also take a picture. So I wanted it to be nice the first time.
Yeah.
And I was really confident that I fixed the file. So I was like, let me print a nice one. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to do all that in an afternoon after work. So yeah, get home at like 6, and then
Have to
uh,
handle that.
go to bed at like midnight.
Yeah. So
But,
you've kind of picked up a new hobby.
oh yeah, and unintentionally, kind of.
Yeah. Does Bear wear a life jacket or does he swim well?
He swims well, but one of my friends, Steph, her Aussie also goes with her. Um, she was
I'll
like,
be right back. I can still hear you though.
get him a life jacket. And I was like, oh, that, haha. And she's like, no, seriously, because when they swim, it's hard to pull them onto the board while you're out in the middle of the water. So I was like, well, how much is a life jacket? They're like $30. So yeah, I got Bear life jacket. Kind of a hit with everyone around.
Yeah.
He looks more adorable, I guess. But yeah, pulling him up, it has two handles at the top, so I could just like. Granted, he's like 65 pounds. He's not super light, but I
Yeah.
can pull him up on the paddle board. But yeah. Anyway, found a paddle board. People left it behind. It was missing a drain plug, so it's half full of water. And is it working? There you are.
You disappeared on my side too.
Oh, but
Is it my
anyway,
internet or your internet?
I don't know. I can see myself moving in the live stream. But
I couldn't see you at all. Anyway, it was missing a drain plug is the last thing I heard.
yeah, the handle's ripped off. But long story short, this thing's like 45, 50 pounds, and the roof of my truck is not that low. So that's pretty much like my max of big, awkward, almost 11-foot
Yeah.
thing to be lifting up. So I ended up finding a different paddleboard on Marketplace. I plan on selling the one that I found to kind of offset. But anyway, this other one was fiberglass. It actually was in pretty good shape. The guy was kind of underselling it, which is not common for Marketplace.
Yeah.
But yeah, ripping around. It's kind of
I'm
fun.
using Bear to cruise the dating scene. He's been doing that for years.
I think there's a couple chicks that came up. They just like paddled over. They're like, his tail wagging, da da da. He does all the work.
Yeah. Someone sent Brett an AOL CD. Yeah. Funny. So Josh and Matt were out at the We Rock Scale Nationals, which I did not actually stop at. I drove right past it. And I'll tell you why. There's there's three reasons. Number one, I was ready to get home. Right, so I left at like 6 o'clock in the morning from the campground on Friday morning, and headed out. So when I cruised through Cedar City, it was like 7:15 in the morning. By the time I stopped, got gas, and got on the highway, it was about 7:15 in the morning. So nothing was going on at that time. The next reason was they weren't running classes that I was super interested in running. And I knew that Matt and Josh weren't running those classes, which I think they ended up actually going to Zion that day instead, which is fine. The third reason I didn't stop, and I understand this to a point, it was $30 to spectate.
Oh,
I could understand 10. It was on private property. I get it. Entry fee, whatever. I get it. $30 to spectate. And $30 to watch trucks that I wasn't super interested in watching, and having to stand around and wait to even be able to watch them. I just wasn't super interested in doing that. So I ended up just driving past. Whether that was right of me to do or not, it just kind of threw me off that there was a $30 spectator fee.
So I'm looking up the East versus West versus Texas We Rock. Also on private property because it's Texas. Um, that's $20 to watch
Full size.
the real deal. That's
I
that's kind of weird. That's I
I
I
I have
I
never
was
been to a single RC event in 20 something years that it cost money to spectate,
I
whether
was
it was racing or crawling or anything. Axial Fest, Axial Fest does cost you, but you're in the raffle also. Where the spectators didn't get anything other than the ability to watch from a distance trucks on course. I mean, I don't know how close they could get, but not that close.
you get
Like,
the VIP experience.
I want to smell the magic smoke that comes out of these suckers at 100 plus degrees outside. Like,
The only smoke you're getting is the peyote.
yeah. So like I said, I get it. Entry fee, insurance, private property, I get it. But $30 seemed a little aggressive.
I was so I didn't even. This is kind of the first me and you've talked about your trip too, because I think you're probably like me. We just been dumping back
Dude, I've
into
been
work.
so busy.
I was so ready right now to like kind of razz you about not actually going to the event for the reason why you hit west, but then I'm at the $30. You kind of got me. I think I'm kind of I'm with you. I don't know. I
I
just
didn't
went to
have
Zion.
yeah, I didn't have trucks to run. So it was like
What was the cost to enter?
I
Like
don't know,
to
I don't
what
know.
was
You
the
had to so that was another I mean, I understand why they did this, but you had to send in an entry form with pictures of your completed trucks so that they could make sure that they were in spec,
free?
I guess.
I mean, that's okay. Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's reasonable, but I don't know what the actual cost of entry was because I didn't.
What if that was $30?
I mean, it could have been. I mean, $30 to enter the event seems reasonable. To actually compete in the event, that seems reasonable. But it was $50 to enter. Toby said he thinks it was $50 to enter. Which, I mean, even still, if it's $50 per truck, I think that's a little on the spicy side. But I mean, you're actively doing something instead of standing there watching other people actively do something. So it's like
Yeah. So I
I
think
can't knock it. I can't knock it because I understand why they did it, but at the same time,
yeah,
I wasn't willing to. I don't
yeah.
know.
So I guess
So
like
on my
from my standpoint, being in Texas and everything's private, if you got the entries, because granted, if you're trying to work on like a private property, you're like, hey, this event brings X amount of people. Um, if you have good entry numbers, usually just truck entry will, unless I don't know, man.
I don't know. It
Pain
costs
to
it
start
costs
ticket.
money. It
It is.
costs money to put on an event. I get it. It costs money for trophies. It costs money for this and that. They had event sponsors though too, so it's like how much. I mean, these guys have full time jobs. They were taking time away. They were doing it. They deserve to make something from the event, but I just think that was just a smidge aggressive. Maybe $10-15.
I'd be in on 10.
I
Granted, with
I
today's
absolutely would have
dollar,
stopped for 10.
10 or 20's the new $10. I,
Yeah,
but
I don't
yeah,
know.
no.
So on my way home, so on my way there, doing the mountains in Colorado, I didn't really want to do them again on the way home. So I was like, okay, I could go south to like Albuquerque and hit 40 and take 40 home because that's the way. I mean, that's the way we go to King of the Hammers. I know that, right? But so I was googling like the highest peaks on all the highways, right? And Colorado's like 11,000 something feet at the Eisenhower Tunnel, I think it's the Eisenhower Tunnel. Whatever the tunnel is, it's like 11,000 something feet. So I was looking up all the peaks. So I was like, well, if I go straight north to Salt Lake City, and then hook it east and hit 80 instead of taking 70 to 80, if I go straight up 15 to 80, the peaks were lower than Colorado. But what I didn't take into account was how long you're at elevation going that way. Because, like, Utah is all mountains. So, like, it was constantly up and down all the way north through Utah. And then you make the turn and you go up through, like, Park City area and all that before you hit Wyoming. And then Wyoming is just a huge plateau, which I didn't think about. It's at, like, 6,000 feet, which the Jeep was just a gutless dog above, like, 3,500 feet. So, like, I was at elevation for a long time. And then all those heavy winds. I was going to go south, but there's no, like, real good highways to get from Sand Hollow area to Albuquerque or Flagstaff or anything without going 2 hours the wrong way to Vegas. And so I was like, well, if I have a mechanical issue, I don't want to be in Indian territory. Like, it's just Indian reservations south of there. So I'm like, I don't want to be broke down on the side of a 2-lane road out in Indian territory with literally nothing around.
They're not gonna shoot bows and arrows at you, man.
No, but there's no way. No, but there's no help out there either. You know what I mean? There's no parts stores anywhere close.
They have regular vehicles. Man.
Yeah, I know, but okay. But what happens if I blow a hub on the trailer? Fucked. At least going north, I was on main highways. But I was at elevation way freaking longer, which was brutal. At least going north, dude, it was so windy. But at least going north, the wind was pushing me. So I was running like 80 going north. Turned east, 52, 54. I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. I was like 36 hours into a 24-hour drive. It was bad.
Good old Pentastar.
Dude.
Is that what's in that?
Yeah. All freaking 260 crank horsepower and like 95 wheel horsepower after the 37s. That was all she had. He was worried about being scalped. That's not it at all. I was just worried about if something stupid happened, the availability of help is just drastically lower.
There's probably still a Napa in the auto zone.
I don't know. I could have Googled it, I guess, but the meme of a skeleton waiting for would be Brett waiting for help. Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, okay, I can head southeast and hit like the Grand Canyon and check out the Grand Canyon Visitor Center, which I've seen the Grand Canyon 3 or 4 times, but
So
it's still cool to see.
That would be an actual desolate spot. I almost ran out of gas in the Land Cruiser because I always filled up at a half tank. That was my road trip rule for that truck. I skipped the gas station. It was 2.5 hours before I got to the next one, and my gas light was on for like a half hour. And I was like, this might be it.
Yeah, I was getting nervous getting to Moab because, you know, you see the signs. It's like next service is 200 miles. I'm like, fuck, I'm only going like 230 miles, 240 miles on a tank of gas. So I stopped and got gas, and then like I must have missed a gas station somewhere. There had to have been one like a couple of miles off of an exit that I just didn't even notice, because coming into Moab, coming down that real long road off of 15, is it 15? I don't even remember. I don't even remember what the number was. Whatever it is, you're on the highway, you turn and you go down this like 25-mile road, 30-mile road to get to Moab. The gas light was on when I turned onto that road, and I'm like, God,
this is it.
I was like, I'm glad I filled up my little generator, which only holds like a gallon of gas. But I'm like, I might have to I might have to cut a water bottle open and drain the generator.
Don't worry, Brett. The Mormons, I hear, are pretty harmless.
Yeah. The number of Teslas I saw on that stretch of road that there was no service stations, I was like,
That's kind of
man,
weird.
y'all are brave. Like, I know that those only go like 230 to 270 miles, like the good range ones.
Dude, not even that. My friend had a Model 3, and he was like, I'm going to go to Dallas because it's 3 hours away. There was a headwind. His 250 miles turned into 175. And
Yeah.
he had to go, it was like, please drop speed to, it was like 60 mile an hour or 55 for optimal. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, that shit's a scam, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Praying for no headwind. That was me the entire drive, was praying for no headwinds. Big question still remains. Did you get any swig while in Utah? No, I didn't even know about it until I was watching you guys' live stream from the Airbnb that you stayed at. So I didn't even know anything about it. However, there is a... What was the other one you went to, Josh? Not swig. What was the other one? There's a bunch of those down near Indianapolis.
Jones.
No, I can't remember.
Wig.
Started with a
T.
T. Oh, Fizz. There's a bunch of Fizz down near Indianapolis. So I told my wife about it after I got home, and she's like, "Damn it, we should have stopped." And then she Googled it and found a bunch of them. So the next time we go to Carmel to visit her grandma, we'll make a little side trip and get something. I'd never heard of it. Didn't even know it was a thing.
That's how you know you're in some desolate area when the highlights is
Something to drink.
Sugary, like food and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
the highlight of Zion National Park for us was we went to hike the Canyon Overlook Trail. So you have to drive through the tunnel in the state park, and then there's a little parking lot right at the end of the tunnel, but it was full, so we had to travel like up the road a little ways still and park. And we were walking to the trailhead, and there was a guy and a girl like sprinting down the road, like terror sprinting, not like we're exercise sprinting, like absolute terror sprinting down the road. And I look behind them, and there's like these Longhorn Rams chasing them down the road. And I'm like, oh shit, they're getting chased. And then the two Rams just went off the side of the road or whatever, and I'm like, okay, we're good. So we kept walking, and we walked by, and they were still standing on the side of the road, and they had our attention, right? We were paying attention to those two Rams to make sure they're not going to chase us. And I turned my head to the other side, and like 20 feet above us on a sheer rock wall was like 8 to 10 more of them standing on the rock above our heads. And I'm like, oh shit, like, I hope they don't jump down here because we are screwed if they do. Like, it was sketchy. I took a picture of them because it was not quite sketchy enough that I didn't want to get my phone out. Where are they? They were above our heads. These were the two that were chasing the guy and girl. Yeah. They were chasing this couple. That's funny. I was cracking up. But the Canyon Overlook Trail was really freaking cool.
I just Googled pictures. Yeah, it looks pretty sick.
This is the lookout at the end of the Canyon Overlook Trail.
That's literally the picture I have up.
Yeah.
It has it looks like the shoes that the dude's wearing. The shoes in the picture.
Yeah, they're my shoes. And then we hiked the Narrows, which was really cool.
Yeah,
you're like hiking in the river. It was mostly like calf deep, but it got up to like I don't know, like this deep in the shallowest deep spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my bag above my head, my backpack above my head, my camelback. I had to carry Riley through there because it was like chin deep on him, and I was like, I don't know if it gets any deeper or not, so I just scooped him up and carried him through it. They look vicious. They don't look vicious, but damn, they were chasing that guy and girl like they had food. I'll tell you that. That was pretty cool. The water temperature was like mid 70s, and it was like 110 outside, so the water felt pretty good.
Refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty refreshing. That was a cool trail. Then what was the other one we did? It was right outside the visitor center. You didn't even have to get on a shuttle. It was just like a walking path, Paroose Trail or something like that. I don't remember, but it was just like a walking path.
I was hoping you were going to say Angel's Landing because
No, we didn't do. We couldn't. I mean, you have to have. So you can hike. You can hike most of Angel's Landing, but like the very last section where all the chains and stairs are, you have to have a permit for. And my wife is very afraid of heights, so she wouldn't have been able to do that anyway. So we didn't even bother trying that one. And we only had 2 days in the park anyway. So if you really want to see stuff in Zion, you need to be there for 3 or 4 days, I think. But dude, if you're not at the gate at 7 in the morning, you're not parking inside the park. It's not happening. But the town that's right outside there, Springdale, has just parking all throughout the town, paid parking throughout the town, and they have a shuttle service. So even if you have to park, even if you have to park 10 miles from the park, they have a free shuttle service to take you to the main entrance of the park. So, yeah, helpful. Stopped at a couple little tourist trap things and little ghost town things. We stopped at the Wild Ass Saloon and the Virgin Jail.
Is that you?
My wife and son.
Oh, all right. No, that's weird.
Yeah, I thought about trading the camper in for that.
That's so when you're gonna break down in Arizona, that's what you were afraid of.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be like what's that movie, Road Trip? Is it Road Trip or it's not? Is it Road Trip? Where the Amish dudes fix the Challenger? Sex Drive.
Sex Drive.
Sex Drive. It's Sex Drive. Yeah, that's what I felt like it was going to end up being.
Yeah, we'll just fixing people's stuff for free.
Yeah, the town of Kaching. I mean, it was $30. Like every parking lot was $30 for the day, for 24 hours. I mean, it's better than watching RC cars for the same money, I guess.
Ooh, circled back and made a joke. Nice.
Yeah. Did you bring any RCs? I did not bring any RCs with me.
Dude, all right. So that's what I do, and I get crap all the time.
I always take RC cars with me, and I never drive them. I've taken RC cars to King of the Hammers. I've hauled RC cars all the way across the country. And I've been there for 14 days at a time, 4 times. I've driven RC cars exactly like 30 minutes, one trip. That was it. And that was only because everybody... Well, Josh was there that day, but I wasn't wheeling with him. But that was because everybody in Team Indiana went out to go do a big team photo shoot with Mickey Thompson and Baja Designs and whatever. Everybody congregated and went out to go do a big photo shoot. And I'm like, I'm going to throw the RC cars in the Razor and go do my own thing then. So I took my capper to Hawaii. The look on my wife's face when I unpacked it was priceless.
What is that?
Yeah, what, are you serious? I mean, it could have been a big dildo or something, but it chose the Capra instead. Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't have time. My S1 is fully put back together, complete, other than the body. I didn't get time to paint the body or do body mounts. And then also, I didn't have time to wire up the new ESC to be quiet. So, that, and I messaged West Desert Wheeler like 4 or 5 times trying to set a time to meet up and go crawling, and I just got left on red. So apparently, I'm not cool enough to go wheeling with him, even though I've sent him free chassis.
Dang, Logan, what the heck? I told
Got
him
left
to
on red.
ignore. I was like, dude, if you leave Brett on red, I will LOL.
My friend took his drift car to Hawaii. I can see that. I feel like there would be a drift scene there, right? I'm sure Logan would have lent him a car if we could have met up. I'm sure he would have, but
Well,
I can show you the messages. He read them.
He's
I
like,
had my 1-to-1. And I would have taken RC cars.
he's like, who the frick is
Nothing.
Brazen Brett?
Yeah, he'd rather meet up with Josh and Matt the day after I left. Oh well, it is what it is. The chances of me being in Sand Hollow again for 6 or 7 days with nothing to do is probably pretty slim. So Logan will get put on blast on Wednesday live stream. No, don't do that. I'm not. I'm not upset about it. I'm sure he's a busy guy, but at least he could have replied and been like, "Sorry, man, I'm busy that week. I've got this day that Josh and Matt are coming." I'd have been like, "All right, cool. I'm not going to be there that day. Is what it is." But whatever.
Do you hear that?
Oh well. The sound of me getting butt hurt.
The rumble?
No.
Oh.
Is it my fan?
No. I'm going to tell you what it is because caught me off guard at like around 11 p.m. I got a new neighbor. They have a Hellcat, and their garage is right underneath me.
Huh.
I was gonna joke with them and be like, "Hey, man, this makes sense. Why my coffee table vibrated to the edge of the room?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What the heck?"
You didn't reply to me this weekend. I did not, but I also didn't have time to run over to the hotel your wife and son were staying at either. So, Matt and Josh have clout. Brett isn't cool enough. I mean, Josh sends Logan RC cars too. So, I don't know. Oh well. Maybe in 10 years, the next time I'm out there, he'll have time to say hi or something.
10 years. I think we'll end up meeting out there before 10 years.
It was super cool. The wildest thing about it is the fact that in the Midwest, we can't just drive off the side of the road and go wheeling. Like,
Yeah.
this, the thumbnail picture, this picture is like, this picture is like 45, 50 feet from the road. You just turn off the road and it's right there. The starter chutes and ladders is right there. This picture here, the road is directly to my left. This right here is the road. Like, this right here is the road. So, like, it's wild to me Moab, my campsite where I camped at Moab, is just at the top of a hill headed to Hell's Revenge, or Fins and Things. Just pulled off the side of the road and camped. Super cool. Like, that doesn't happen around here. You have to go to an off-road park and camp or pay money or whatever. And there's not that. It's just the terrain is insane.
So also right now, I just realized you have a camper. I was thinking you were pulling that pop-up. Dang. All right, that explains the 50-mile-an-hour.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
that makes sense.
no. Mathematically, this camper is at the limit of that Jeep, and I will tell you, it is at the limit of that Jeep. I mean, it's a
That's a nice camper.
reasonable,
Yeah.
pretty reasonable camper. So, bigger question: would you do this trip again, minus the problem, tires, headwinds, etc.? If I were going to take the Jeep again, I would not. I would not take the camper. However, I did order 513 gears for the Jeep while I was out there. I'm like, this thing needs gears so bad. Like, so I ordered a set of 513s for the Jeep, so that should help a lot. But
You know what?
I don't know.
What would have helped a lot? 35s.
no, I don't think that really would have helped that much. 392 would have helped a lot. If I could have pulled the engine and trans out of my truck and put it in the Jeep before I went. Like,
Oh yeah, is that a thing? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, just Hemi swap the Jeep and
Probably bolt and go for the moment.
they make plug and play adapter harnesses to make the gauge cluster work and everything. I mean,
Dude, swap them and then trade the truck in. They're like, wait.
I'm just waiting for the truck to get a little bit more rusty. It's a 2010 Canadian truck with 250,000 miles on it, so it's probably not a whole lot longer for this world, but the engine and trans run great. So I'm just waiting for it to start falling apart, and then I'll pull it apart. But
Yeah.
the Jeep's about to roll 200,000 miles. It has 298 something on it now, or 198 something now.
Not bad.
I bought it with 140 3 years ago. So if I had to turn around right now and hook the camper up and go back out, I'd take the truck. But if I weren't taking the camper, yeah, I'd drive the Jeep back out there, no big deal.
I have two of those Oz tents now, so you can borrow one.
Yeah. Same for Texas. We can't pull off the road and start wheeling. Yeah.
No, you can. You're gonna catch a couple bullets.
Yeah.
Texas is pretty lame. I think the coolest thing about Texas is honestly the Padre National Seashore. Drive on the beach for 60 miles.
That's
Other than
pretty
that,
cool.
Yeah, it's give and take because a lot of stuff washes up. So you have like random stuff and then like random trees basically that wash up. Don't go after a storm, but sometimes it's really nice. But
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, Austin's pretty cool. I have zero. I don't know. I don't really care to venture too much into Houston. I think it's hot and sticky. The humidity's crazy. Plus, it's all flat.
Dude,
It's nothing for me in like most of Texas.
Yeah, that was one thing that was nice. I mean, the humidity level in Utah was like 5%. This morning here, it was 93%. So it's like,
Yeah.
Wes, you haven't seen the guys who go to U-Haul and rent the large van or truck with the big motor and take the motors out and swap something less powerful. They used to have 6.0s in them. Now they've got 4.8s in them. They got smart. Or actually, now most of the U-Haul trucks are Fords. So, and they're not the Godzillas either. They're just like the shitty Ford motors.
The spark plug ejectors.
Yeah, yeah.
Funny.
So, my one buddy zoomed in on one of my pictures, and he noticed how chewed up my tires were on the Jeep from wheeling. And he's like, "Man, with those tires, you're trying to die, aren't you?" And I was like, "You're going to lose your mind when I tell you that the spare tire on the back of the Jeep doesn't hold air real well and is currently flat on the back of the Jeep. So I brought my little air compressor and my generator just in case." He's like, "Oh, great. So you're going to get a flat tire and put a flat tire on it and air it up." I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." Thankfully, I didn't have any Jeep issues at all. The only thing that scared me on the Jeep coming back from Vegas Thursday when Josh and Matt came into Vegas, the wind coming back to Sand Hollow was pretty strong. And at one point, I went around a curve, and the wind was whipping the driver's side inner fender well. It was like whipping it out and smacking it against the frame, and I could feel it in the floor. Dude, I swear to you, I thought that a wheel bearing was coming apart or a front axle joint or a front drive shaft. Like, it was just banging, and I could feel it in the floor, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell was that?" So I pulled off at a gas station, and I was like going super slow down the road and in the gas station parking lot with the windows down trying to listen, and everything sounded fine. And it was driving fine, so I was like, "That's really weird." So I got out, grabbed the front drive shaft, grabbed the front axle shaft, so I'm like, everything feels fine. I don't know. I'm going to keep driving. And I heard it a handful more times the rest of the way back to Sand Hollow, and then a couple times in like Wyoming or Nebraska or Iowa or wherever the hell I was. Heard it a couple more times. I wish I would have had a big HVAC zip tie or something I could have wrapped around the frame and tied it down, but it honestly scared me the first, because it just started like banging, just like rapid fire, just banging against the frame. It's pretty wild.
See, like, we have those customers come into the cruiser shop and they're like, "Why'd you get rid of the 80?" And I'm like, "Dude, being a mechanic, I'm not, like, ignorance is bliss, 100%. Because every time I drove that 80, I was thinking about everything that's rotating all simultaneously. Any little sound like that, I'm like, what is that?" And like,
Yeah,
dude,
what is falling apart right now?
you start sweating and you're nervous.
Dude, I swear to you, I saw your old 80 in Tennessee.
Maybe that dude, drove it to Idaho.
I was in Tennessee, or maybe it was Southern Kentucky, on my way home from Tennessee, and I swear to you, it passed us on the road, like we were getting on the highway from getting gas, and it went by, and I was like, it was before I knew you had sold it. It was after you got the Lexus, obviously, and it was before, but it was before I knew you sold it, and I'm like, I know Wesley's not up here, and like I caught up to it, and I passed it, and I looked at it, and I'm like, that thing is a carbon copy of Wes's truck. And I think I texted you and asked you, or maybe I asked you on a live stream if you still had it. And you're like, "No, I sold it." I'm 97% sure that it was yours. Because if it wasn't yours, it was identical. It was only doing like 65 on the highway, so it had to be yours.
I don't know. That thing, it would do 75 pretty easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It was just
motor swap would help. Yeah, motor swap would help a lot. Driving with no radio for miles, listening.
Dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, instantly turn the radio off, windows down, just listen. Turn the AC off, just listening. I was like, at first I was like, oh, maybe there was something in the road that maybe it was just in that curve. Maybe the road was fucked up or something. But I'm like, I'm paying attention to that stuff, and I didn't see anything in the road, and it really sounded like something was coming apart in the front end. And like I said, it was banging hard enough to feel it in the floor on my foot on the floor mat. So I was like, I didn't like it at all. I was like, great, here I am, 2,000 miles from home, and something dumb is happening. I'm in the freaking desert, halfway between Vegas and Sand Hollow. But I knew Matt and Josh and Dan were behind me somewhere in a traffic jam. So I knew at some point they were going to pass me if I had an issue. But, yeah.
Logan would drive right by you.
Honk and wave. Smile and wave. Was that the Brazen logo? Ah, fuck that guy. Oh, wow.
Oh, Logan.
Anyway, well, we managed to cram in about 3.5 minutes of RC talk into an hour-long show.
Oh, yeah, anyway, so yeah, body mounts.
Yeah, anyway, body mounts for, what, are those those are the K10 body mounts?
Yeah, K10 for the Sever Leaf and extra cab for the Sever S1, since it's slightly different. My bad. Yeah. I might update the frame, or I might not. I think I'm gonna update the frame, but still leave the files up because somebody's still gonna have like the old frame for the body mounts. I don't know.
Yeah.
They should all match. It's gonna bug me if one's different. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I was finally able this afternoon to log back into the Brazen Gmail. I haven't had access to the Brazen Gmail for like 2 months. So if you were trying to email me specifically, I didn't get it. So I'll scroll back a couple of weeks and see if there's anything that still needs to be handled. But
I do a pretty good job at sending you or replying. There might be something about like a pro skid when those will be in stock, but I think those same people usually end up after like 24 hours or 12 minutes, they'll end up messaging the Facebook page.
Yeah. Talked to Twisted on Sunday. I might need to share my Sever with him. He's not a huge fan of our stuff, mostly, for the most part. I don't know.
He might have.
He likes the VS410 stuff.
About this latest thing, but we'll see.
So, all right. Well, hopefully the accident's cleaned up so I can pull back out onto the road when I leave here. But gonna get out of here for the night, head home, and eat some dinner. Have you eaten dinner yet?
I did. I haven't got a shower though. My face is got like degrees across.
I'm pretty shiny. Pretty shiny.
Actually, I can see it now. The freaking yeah. It's not that cool in the shop, so it's very.
I don't have AC. I don't have AC in this shop, so that's been a big. It's been a big thing. Current humidity level here right now is 74%. So it's little.
That's a lot for what I'm used to.
Yeah. No e-bike to Utah. No, if I would have taken my truck, I would have taken the e-bike, which actually I sold it when I got back. So I don't have an e-bike anymore. Ultra 4 racer buddy of mine wanted one, and he didn't want to pre-order one. And he made me an offer on it that was more money than I had in it and more money than buying one. He just didn't want to wait. So I sold it. I had like 350 miles on it, 375 miles on it.
You sprayed the plastics with Crisco and you said it's never been down?
Nope. Nope. He rode it at the Badlands Ultra 4 race, and he decided he needed one. But they were all sold out everywhere. And the pre-order, if you ordered one now, you probably won't get it till like late August. And he's like, I don't want to wait that long. He goes, I'd rather just buy yours for new price and have it the next day. And I was like, okay,
Times
whatever.
I
Yeah.
get
So
it.
I might order another one. I might not. I mean, it was super fun. One of the most fun e-bikes I've ever ridden. Super fun, but also they're not cheap. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll get
It
one
was
of
nice
them.
to.
That might be my camping hack.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need a $6,000 one. You know, you can find a used Talaria or something for $2,000 and have
Eh,
65% of the fun.
that's cheap.
Yeah. So, shop bills paid. Yeah, basically I had to ordered a bunch of materials and stuff the last couple days. And anyway, all right. Well, let's get off here for tonight. And this weekend's 4th of July, but Monday should be fine. So,
Should be. I think I should be in town. I think I'm gonna stay in town this weekend. I guess some fan or not. I guess some friends doing Bentonville trip at the end of the month, so I might just pocket some cash and stay local this weekend.
yeah.
Anybody in Bentonville on the 23rd to 27th? Let me know.
Cool. Sounds like fun. All right. Later, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Take it easy.